and friends and neighbors, or shall I say this afternoon.
Welcome back to the Steelers franchise on Madden 22. I'm your host, longtime listener. Be sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and comment below. We knocked off Kansas City in Week 15 action last episode. We did not advance through the week, though, to see what else happened around the league. As you can see, the Browns are now 9-5, the Ravens 10-4. So we're in a dead heat atop the AFC, tied with the Ravens and the Chiefs at this point. And now the Patriots with 4 losses are in the mix. They've already clinched in the AFC East, and now looking to try and maybe lock down the first round bye by winning the best record in the AFC during the regular season. So we've decided that at this point we're in pretty good shape. We feel confident that we're going to make the playoffs. We've got the 3-11 Bills that we've got coming up in the next episode. They've got a pretty good offense, but 3-11 tells me that they've got some issues. We're playing them on the road, but I think this is a game that we can win. So we're going to try and make sure that we stop Josh Allen. So we'll defend the deep pass. Offensively, yes, let's go with the blitz counter. Their defense is just bad. Worst in the league against the pass, and not very good against the run either. So we should be able to move the football with relative ease against a team like this. Let's go for some touchdown passes. Let's get first downs. Let's throw for 275, and let's get some sacks. So that's going to be our overall kind of strategy, I guess, moving forward, period. But especially in this game against a pretty porous defense. But this is a game that we really need to win. We've got the Browns and Bengals to round out the season, and the game against the Browns could be a very important one in the overall picture, especially if we lose this one. So if we win, I imagine we at least clinch a playoff spot, but I'm not 100% sure. 11 wins is pretty safe to get you into the playoffs. So, all right, we're ready to go ahead and sim. Let's get it done. Come on, let's get a win against the Bills. We can't really afford to lose this one, frankly. I will not feel good about the situation going down the stretch. We'll still make the playoffs. Ooh, we won, but it was a tight one, 21-17. What did the Browns... Oh, wait. So the Browns they won. They're 10-5. The Ravens... Where are the Ravens on here? Why do I not see them? They may have had a bye, I guess. That can't be right. How many? Let's just go back here. Okay, so the Ravens won. And I think I saw that the Chiefs won. Yeah, they beat whoever they played, and now they've got the Colts next week. So, where are the Ravens on here? Because I want to see who they're playing this week. And I just flat out don't see them, which is really weird. But whatever. It's not a big deal. It's driving me crazy, but it's not a big deal. I don't see any other 11-4 teams. They're just not on here, period. They're not on the schedule. What is up with that, guys? All right, let's look at the schedule, though. Go to the box score of that game and see what transpired in the course of us getting that victory. So after we lost 3 in a row, we've now won a couple in a row. We pretty much dominated in all facets except for turnovers. Their offense was atrocious. Grant Crawford was picked off twice and sacked 5 times. Josh Allen picked off once and sacked 3 times. Haskins had to come in at some point. So I don't know what that was about, but you know, Brent Crawford needs to be better than that, frankly. Benny Snell was bottled up, but did manage to get a couple of touchdowns. Same thing for Singletary, just 1 touchdown. Grant Crawford ran in for a touchdown, but just 8 yards on 5 carries. We just weren't very good on the ground. And then throwing the football, we were doing okay, but giving up some sacks and then the 2 interceptions, something that we obviously don't want to see. Johnson had a pretty good day. Claypool and Freiermuth were all right. But we got to be better at taking care of the football. Tackles, Edmonds had 14. Our leading tackler was Braden McCrary. He's having another pretty good season for us. Sacks, Khalil Mack is on the Bills. He got 1.5. Oliver got 1.5. Denton got 1. And then Watt and Shields each get 1. McCrary combined with Bush. White combined with Epinesa. So, bottom line, we got to be better offensively taking care of the football. We didn't run it very well, but that's not the end of the world. We got to win. That's all it really boils down to. All right, so our last negotiations for the year, there was one guy that we needed to try and re-sign. Who was it? Hackett. So we're letting Spillane go, and then Hackett, he wants $3 million for 1 year. We're actually going to extend it to 2 years, drop the signing bonus down to $900K, and increase the salary. I am pretty sure he's going to take this. There we go. So we've got our backup right tackle locked up for a couple more years. Won't need to worry about that. We do have to go and get some backup guards this year, but not a big deal. All right. Let's set the strategy for this game against the Browns, and this is a big one. So let's see. Nick Chubb has to be your number 1 concern. They are not very good through the air, but second best in the league on the ground. So we are definitely going to try and focus on slowing him down. And then they are really good against the pass. I'm going to go with blitz counter, though. I'm not going to, go to a run heavy offense. I think our, DNA right now, we've got a really good wide receiver core and a pretty good quarterback. Let's try and use those guys. So we'll see how it goes, but simulating these last couple episodes where we've simmed some games, we have not really been that sharp, which doesn't bode well for, if and when we have to perhaps simulate a game in the playoffs. But we'll see. Okorafor gets an upgrade. It's about time. It seems like it's been forever since we've seen his name pop up on this list. But we know what we're getting out of him. He's nothing special, but he's good enough to hold down that position for a couple more years, hopefully. Are we ready to now move forward? We are. So we'll advance here. I would imagine that we've clinched already. I'm not sure, but at 11 wins, if we haven't clinched, it's just a matter of time. Like, we'd have to probably lose out and somebody else win out. And, like, a lot of things would have to fall in place for an 11-win team to not make the playoffs. We lose in a shootout, 42-38. Come on, defense. You got to be better than that. So that could do it for our chances of an AFC regular season championship. 1 week to go. At best, we're in a tie right now. Our offense was really good, but we turned the ball over again. They ran for 200 yards. Was it an interception? It sure was. Come on, Grant Crawford. Although it's hard to complain with a day like that. 437 yards. Was not sacked. Threw 3 touchdown passes. The 1 interception, the only blemish. And he had a 94-yard pass. How about that? Mayfield was pretty sharp. We only sacked him once. He threw 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. And then Nick Chubb, Jesus. 16 carries, 10 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. Benny Snell was trash. McFarland had a pretty good day, but we couldn't stop Nick Chubb. Juju, he had the 94-yard, I assume, touchdown pass. And then 2 touchdowns, 174 yards on the day. Johnson, a nice day. Nick Chubb, 2 catches for 56 yards, including a 40-yard touchdown strike. So we got to be better at stopping guys like that. And today we were pretty atrocious. Our leading tackler was Quincy Shields. That's kind of bizarre, but okay. Sacks, just 1, and it was Shields. So he had a nice day at least. Who had the interceptions for them? Or 1. Denzel Ward. Man, he's good. So that's a tough one. We fall to 11-5 now on the year. Let's look at the standings before we go through this last week of action in the regular season. Because it's going to be interesting to see... No, I don't want that. What the heck? Go back to the main screen, guys. Now view the standings. It looks like the Ravens won, so they are 12-4. The Chiefs 12-4. So nobody has clinched home field, because that would be a Z. X is that you've clinched a playoff berth. Y, you have clinched your division. So if the Ravens lose and we win, I think we will win the bye, because we will have, although no, we need the Chiefs to lose as well. So we need help if we're going to get that bye, but it's still up for grabs, hypothetically. We got to beat the Bengals. Surely we can beat the Bengals, right, guys? Yeah, we got to try and stop Joe Mixon. We're not going to do the run inside. We're going to throw the ball. We are a passing team. That's our identity. We're going to stick with it, for better or worse. So 2 touchdown passes. Let's get first downs. Let's throw for 275, and let's go get some sacks. Come on, guys. It'd be nice to at least get the win and give ourselves a chance at the first round bye. I don't know how the tiebreaker scenario would work, but if the Ravens and Chiefs both lose, man, would that suck if we lose too and miss out on that potential opportunity. All right, Jacoby Stevens is actually pretty good in pass coverage. Now, he's not coming back next year. I believe we let him go, didn't we? He's like 27 and only, yeah, I think we let him go. One of a couple of outside linebackers that we've released. Quincy Shields, keep getting better at run stopping, dude. Just be a monster up the middle. He's 84 overall at run stopping. That's pretty good. All right. Now I think we're ready to go through this week. No injuries. Come on, baby. Man, it'd be nice to have the bye and get through wild card weekend with some rest. So, is it meant to be? We freaking lose. The Ravens won anyway, so it didn't matter. But now we finished 3rd in the division. Ugh. Let's look at the playoff bracket and see what's going on here. So we end up as the 6th seed and we'll play the Patriots in New England. The Chiefs and Raiders playing in the wild card there. Titans and Browns are the 4 and 5 seed, and then the Ravens got the number 1 seed. Seahawks get the bye, then it's Panthers, Saints, Vikings, Bucks, Cowboys, and Niners in the NFC. So, let's take a look and see what happened. How the heck did we lose to the freaking Bengals? it wouldn't have mattered because the Ravens won, but we might have been playing, like the Raiders instead of the Patriots. So let's just go here. Where's our game? There it is, Steelers and Bengals. So, Burrow was solid. Grant Crawford was okay, but he was sacked 3 times. Joe Mixon, we did a decent job against him, but we ran the ball okay. Benny Snell fumbled. Did we lose that one? Let's go back to the box score. Yep. We turned it over, and I'm sure that that's what it was. And that was probably the difference in this game. T. Higgins had a good day. Claypool was solid for us. A nice day for Freiermuth. Juju was all right. We kept Jamar Chase under wraps for the most part. Just 3 catches. All right, so Jackson ends up with 10 tackles. Bush had 9, including 2 for a loss. What about sacks? They had 3. Alexander, Fadukasi, and Hendrickson. And then Minka and Jason McDonald. Man, he hasn't done anything this year. Is he a backup for us this year? Because I haven't called his name hardly at all. All right. There were no interceptions, so that's pretty much all we need to look at for this one. Now, we have reached the end of the regular season, so let's go back and see if there are yearly awards that they've already passed out, or do they do that like during the Pro Bowl or whatever? Yeah, they do that in the Pro Bowl. So we're ready for playoff action. It's going to be at Gillette Stadium in the snow, of course, because it's the playoffs, and that's just what happens. We've got Zach Monroe coming back. That's a huge boost because that'll help us with our pass rush and our defense in general. So we're healthy going into the playoffs at least. And, I think this is a team that can make a run. But what the plan is going to be is we play this first game against New England. If we win, we will sim the divisional round game. If we win that one, we will play the rest of the season. But we will sim game 2 of the playoffs if we make it that far. Let's actually go and look at stats, just because even though they're not passing out awards yet, it'll be nice to see some individual stats for the team, and we'll look at some rankings as well. Good year for Crawford. 4,700 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a QB rating of 109.2. He was sacked 26 times, which is actually pretty good for an entire season. Benny Snell ended up over 1,200 yards, almost 1,300, and 21 touchdowns. That's very impressive. 3 fumbles, a little bit of an issue, but not that bad. Crawford didn't run for as many yards as I would like, but some of that's just because I was simming games and don't control it. McFarland, he had his ups and downs, but a lot more downs than ups. Ben Richardson, a good year for the rookie, 190 yards, averaging 5 yards a carry and 4 touchdowns. So he's going to probably get a little bit more of the workload as time goes on, but that's a pretty good start to his career. Receiving-wise, we've got Juju that ended up at about 900 yards, but then Claypool and Johnson both go over 1,000. 10 touchdowns for Deontay Johnson. A pretty good year for Freiermuth with 794 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Richardson had 5 touchdowns through the air. So that's pretty good. Defensively, Devin Bush, 148 tackles, 10 for a loss. How about sacks? It's going to be TJ Watt. I saw 18.5 for him. Shields ends up with 11.5. Monroe, 9.5, but missed a bunch of time due to some off and on injuries, unfortunately. Devin Bush, 2.5. O'Neal, 2.5. A bunch of guys with 1 or less. Interceptions. We kind of struggled in this department this year. Beal had 2 in 1 game. Sutton, just 2. And then Jackson, Colbert, McCrary, and Fitzpatrick, each with 1. So kind of a disappointing year, honestly, for Minka Fitzpatrick. 58 tackles, 1 interception, and a half of a sack. Like, he's got to be better than that because he's a playmaker for us, and he just wasn't getting it done this year. But another pretty good year for TJ Watt. Evans ended up with just 14 field goal tries on the season, made 12 of them, and then was perfect in 57 extra point tries. Presley Harvin, I got his name right. He averaged 49.2 yards a punt, 12 of them inside the 20, 10 go for touchbacks. Pretty good year for him, and that's all we need to look at for individual stats. Now, what I want to actually do is just kind of see where some of these guys stack up across the league. Crawford ends up with the 5th most passing yards, which is pretty good. I don't care so much about touchdowns. Let's look at QB rating and see how he stacked up. So these top 3 guys disregard because they only had a few passing attempts, but of the qualifying quarterbacks, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and then don't count him, 4, don't count him, 5. So he is 6th best as far as QB rating throughout the league. That's pretty impressive. Now I want to look at rushing touchdowns and see where Benny Snell stacks up, because 21 is really up there. Yeah, 2nd best, tied with Zeke Elliott and 2 behind Nick Chubb. So he was at least finding ways to get the ball into the end zone, but 3 fumbles is not what we're looking for there. All right, team stats we will look at, and then we'll wrap things up here. Defensively, we ended up 6th best as far as total yards allowed. In the passing game, we're actually... Oh, no, this is offense. Sorry. So let's flip this so we're coming top down. We're up there about 7th. Rushing, about 8th or 9th. Points per game, we're a little bit down from where I'd like to be. I'd like to be up around 30, and we're like 27-ish, which is about 10th in the league again. So we're pretty consistent there offensively, pretty balanced, and pretty effective in general. Defensively, 3rd best as far as total yards allowed. Let's look at the breakdown as to how that unfolded. 6th best against the pass. About 11th against the run. Points allowed, about 7th or 8th in that department. Sacks, did we get the league? No, we never could chase down the Chiefs, but 2nd best with 49. That's pretty darn good. We didn't get the turnovers that we would have wanted this year, and that was a big challenge for us defensively, but all in all, pretty good numbers for the team offensively and defensively. So that actually, I think, is going to do it for this episode. In the next episode, we will have the matchup against the Patriots, and then we'll go from there. If we win, the following episode will be game that we simulate, and then either the next game that we will play, or if we lose the game that we simulate, it'll be off-season action, probably. So we'll see, but the big one is coming up against the Patriots. It's going to be in the blizzard, which means we're probably going to have to run the football a little bit. It's going to be a little bit different than the kind of game that we like to play, but I still like our odds against New England. So that's going to do it for this episode. If you have not done so already, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment below, and we will see y'all next time.
Good evening, friends and neighbors. Or shall I say this afternoon?